Jagrata. In reality, the path is very, very simple. Life is very simple. Everything's very simple. You just have to reach the point, which is very logical, reasonable, of seeing the complexities of life are created by your mind. Life is not complex. Life is very simple. Just as the ocean is not complex, it's very simple. It's the ocean. That's it. There's nothing more to do about it. There's just the ocean. You can stand there and look at it. You can swim in it. It is only when your mind gets involved and starts breaking into pieces and trying to put the pieces back together again and look at all the different waves and wavelets and heights and amplitudes and so on, that everything becomes extremely complicated. Things are what they are. That's not complicated. It's simple. So you start to catch on that your mind, which seems to be trying to solve the complexities and solve the problems of life, is in truth the cause of all problems of life. One could argue in a very logical, reasonable way that there are no problems in life. There are none. Never was, never will be. There's only life. Just like the weather can't be wrong. It's just the weather. To say it's wrong is to say that it's not behaving in accordance to the forces that govern it. Of course it's behaving in accordance to the forces that govern it. That's what it does. All right? So the weather is not wrong. It is not a problem. It is the weather. The problem is that you don't want it to be that way. That's the problem. The problem is not the event. The problem is your resistance to the event. The problem is that you have within your mind concepts, opinions, views, preferences, beliefs, hopes, dreams, likes, dislikes. Did I get them all? You got those in there? All right? That's what you got in there. And they have made up within your mind, they have made up how the weather should be. Did they make it up in accordance to the principles of meteorology? No. They just made it up in accordance to what you want. I want it to rain today. I don't care if all the forces of the planet say it's not going to rain here today. I want it to rain today. I don't want it to rain today. I'm going canoeing. I don't want it to rain. Did you do that based on meteorology? Based on all sorts of science? No. You just did it based on mind. This thing you do with your mind is what makes the weather a problem. The weather is not a problem. The weather is the weather. I can prove that it's your mind doing it. Her mind wants it to rain today. Her mind doesn't want it to rain today. When it rains, her mind thinks it's the most wonderful thing. It's God's grace. Let's start dancing. Her mind thinks it's a major problem. What are we going to do about it? It is your mind that makes things problems. Things are not problems. They are events. They are occurrences on the planet Earth. They have reasons for being. The reasons being scientific. The reasons being the laws of cause and effect. The reasons being all the factors that ever were came together to cause things as they are. That can't be a problem. It's just reality. But because your mind has these preconceived notions about how you personally want it to be, it appears to be a problem. So when you wake up to the point of seeing that's your problem, and you have that very mind that has defined things as problems and is now struggling with them, in there thinking about how to solve them, that's when you really wake up, when you catch on. You got the fox in the chicken coop telling you what to do about the fox in the chicken coop. All right? It's not going to work. Your mind is not going to solve these problems. Your mind is the cause of the problems. You have to understand this to the core of your being. There will be a point in which you will, and you'll just see it. It says, why can't I just live my life and be peaceful and loving and caring and just enjoy my journey on the planet Earth? And the answer will come back very quickly because of your mind. Because your mind says you can't. Your mind says you're going to worry about this and you're going to want this to be this way and you're not going to like this to be that way and you're going to judge this and et cetera, isn't it? So now you catch on. The world is simple. It is what it is. It's that simple. Mars is simple, it's Mars. Jupiter is simple, it's Jupiter. It's just very simple. If you decide that there's a problem, because when you look at Jupiter, you see 4 of the moons. There are many more, but you see 4 of the moons. But when you look at the Earth, you only see 1. You're going to ruin your life over that? You can't enjoy your food, you can't get married, you can't do anything because you didn't get the right number of moons? People could do that, couldn't it? Mind could do that. And so you realize this, that the problem is what your mind is doing. The problem is not what reality is doing. So now the question becomes, what do you do about that? That first step of seeing, not believing and not reading, but seeing that the cause of every single problem you have is your mind. If your mind didn't say it was a problem, it wouldn't be a problem. It is because your mind is saying you don't like it that it's a problem. If your mind all of a sudden, if I hypnotized you, you can do it. You can hypnotize mind. Oh, mind, you want it to rain. And then I take a hypnosis, you go, oh boy, it's raining. All of a sudden it's not a problem. What does that prove? The rain is not a problem or a problem. It is the mind that is deciding what's going on. Therefore, the solution to all your problems is your relationship with your mind. It is not your struggle with life or other people. It is your relationship with your mind. All right, let's assume that you get that. I mean, what does it mean to get it? The same way as people go out and spend every minute of their day trying to have good relationships, trying to have good finances, trying to have people like them, trying to be popular, trying to have careers. They do that. They're really very busy about that. They don't say, oh, do I have to? Is it my turn to be in love? To find somebody that you get along? They don't do that. Is it my turn to get the raise? Is it my turn to win American Idol? Oh, geez. Do I have to be popular? No, it doesn't do that. It wants to do that, and it wants to do it all the time. That's how you have to become about straightening out your relationship with your mind. Otherwise, your mind's going to tell you the way to solve it is to win American Idol. The way to solve it is to win the lottery. The way to solve it is to get divorced and remarried to someone who treats you properly. They'll say all kinds of interesting things. The way to solve it is to get a Porsche. The way to solve it is to go back to school, get a higher degree. What is that? Solve what? Solve the fact that the mind is telling you the world's a problem. And the mind is then telling you what to do about it. So now I'm going to assume for the rest of the talk that you got that. You're there. You want to spend every moment of your life straightening out the mind so that the world is not a problem. Isn't it neat? You don't have to go anywhere. The world ceases to be a problem when you say it does. The moment your mind ceases to say it's a problem, it is no longer a problem. People in relationships should really get this. You're in a relationship. Of course, nothing's perfect in a relationship. You're 2 different people. There's going to be edges that hit, and there's going to be wonderful places that merge. That's what it means to be different. It's the day that your mind says that that's a problem is the day that you have a problem with your relationship. The day that your mind says, God, we really don't get along that well, and we don't like the same kind of foods, and we brush up against this stuff, and when we go to the movies, someone has to compromise, because we just don't like the same stuff, and, we just don't really get along so well, and maybe it wasn't such a good match, and I probably could find somebody better, and I don't. When your mind starts saying that, you then have a problem with your relationship. If the very same mind said, God, this is so neat, we're so different, it's so funny, who could think that 2 people could just not see anything the same way? It just shows why there's so many problems in human interaction and so on. This is fun to see that the beauty and the love that we have can transcend the differences that we deal with. And basically when we don't agree about what movie to go to, we get to show each other the love that we have by wanting to do it the other person's way. And same events, different mind. All of a sudden, if somebody asks you, how's your relationship going? God, it's great. It's just great. We have so much fun, working with each other, right? How's your relationship doing? Terrible. We don't get along at all. We're just 2 totally different people. It was a gross mistake. That's mind. That is not the relationship. That is mind. And if you don't believe me, watch. That's what happens. That's the only difference between a good relationship and a bad one. Mind. That's the only difference between a job you like and one you don't. Mind. That's the only difference is whether you think this career works for you or doesn't. Mind. It's just an amazing thing, that mind. All right. So now you've seen it. What do you do about it? That's a lot of fun. I like that topic. Because very few people see it. That's what's so funny. Is that the elite few catch on and say, all I have to do is straighten the mind out and I'm fine. And so is everything else. Because, by the way, if you were given the choice, here's your choice. You can either like everything or not like everything. That's not a hard choice. Because maybe you've noticed that when you like things, you're happy. And you feel good about them. And maybe you've noticed that when you don't like things, you're not happy and you don't feel good about it. Who's noticed that? If everything started happening that you don't like, how would you be doing? If everything started happening that you do like, how would you be doing? In other words, it determines your entire life. So all you have to do is change your relationship with your mind, and everything's fine from then on. You can go about your business, dealing with things. So now the question becomes, how do you do that? And boy, of the few that have turned there, such totally different answers. You know, one tells you to fight with your mind, and it tells you this, that, who the heck knows. In the end, you will catch on. If you fight with your mind, you lose. You cannot fight with your mind. Will not solve this problem. Not will that goes to battle with the mind. The best you can do in battling with your mind is suppress. And suppression does not work. The energies that you suppress just mull around underneath and jump up and get you later. Right? There's no benefit to suppressing. Therefore, there is no benefit to fighting your mind. None. There's no benefit to fighting your mind. You do not fight your mind. That is not how you solve your issue with your mind. You start to look at mind eventually when you get clear enough, and you realize, we used the example of weather earlier. It's a very good example. Mind is like weather. Sometimes it's stormy, sometimes it's balmy. Sometimes it's drizzling, and sometimes it's pouring. And there are even tornadoes. Wow, it's like a weather system inside that just goes through all these changes. What is it? It's just like the weather. Just as the weather has a cause behind everything it does, the mind has a cause behind everything it does. You just have to be wise enough to realize what you're looking at as mind, all this talking and judgment and changes and arguments and different stuff going on in there, that's just the surface. That's the end result of the forces that are causing the mind to be. If you want to have a deep, meaningful life and really grow very deeply spiritually very quickly, you have to go to the root of the mind. Just like you go to the root of weather. You have to go to the root to find out, why is the mind doing what it's doing? What is going on there? That journey is your entire spiritual journey. Once you've solved the mind, it's over. You'll see. It just happens by itself. Everything opens up inside. The mind is the anchor that is binding the soul to this situation. So you watch and you try to see, why does the mind say what it says when it says it? Why does it do what it does? Why does it like some things and not other things? And why does it keep changing its mind about what it likes and what it doesn't like? What is going on? What are the forces there? And you look deep, and we've talked about this before, but let's go deeper. And what you will see in truth, and you will see it, behind all of mind, is that you care about the outcome. You care about what's going to happen. So that if you're going on a date with somebody, you care about whether they like you or not. I mean, it sounds trite. See, truth always sounds trite. Well, I guess it's the truth. Rain is wet. Sometimes it rains. Yeah, these are just truths. They're just so true that they're trite to you. You care about what happens in the different situations you interact with each day. If you're going to work, you care if you get the raise. You care if you succeed. You care if somebody else does better than you do. You care if you get recognized. You care if you get yelled at. You care about every single thing that takes place. You have a way you want it to be, and you care if it turns out that way. That is why your mind is so active. If you will watch your mind, it's doing the following. It's telling you how you want it to be. It's telling you how to get it that way. It's worrying about whether it will be that way. It's judging who's on your side, who's not, what forces are helping you, what forces are going to hurt you. It's plotting and planning what to say, what not to say, judging you because you said something stupid. It's just in there constantly talking about what? How it wants to be and whether it's going to be that way, because I care about the outcome. It's all about caring about the outcome. Even in the past, I wanted it to be that way, but that was 5 years ago. The outcome, like, it just keeps mattering, and the mind just keeps talking about it. So that's one way to look about the mind. It's something that cares about the outcome of everything. It just has a preconceived notion about how it wants things to be, and then it just talks about it. Right? Constantly, with just everything from top to bottom. And it's not just how you want it to be, also how you don't want it to be. So if you don't want something to happen, just watch what it does. Did you notice that if you don't want something to happen, it really cares whether it happens or not? Maybe I'll just put it that way. Let's say you really don't want something to happen. Do you notice that your mind cares whether it happens or not? What if I challenge that? What if I stop this intuitively obvious thing and just say, why? You look at me like I'm crazy. Well, you just said I care, so of course I care. You will catch on one day that as long as you care about the outcome, your mind will never stop. You will have continuous problems. It will keep telling you what to do. It will fight with you all the time. And you will worry about every single thing that's going on. If I go out on a date with you and I care whether you like me or not, then I have to worry about whether you go out on a date with somebody else tomorrow. Then I have to worry about whether you called somebody up. Should I call them and check to see what you... Come on, you all been there in high school. Check to see what they said about you. It all becomes very complicated, doesn't it? The reality is, two animals on the planet Earth went out for an evening. How many people are there and how many evenings were there? And my God, you can't handle it? And the answer is no. I can't handle it. I am neurotic about the fact that I went on a date and I have to figure out whether the person liked me or not, and did I wear the right thing, and should I ask them out again? And it just, in other words, you must have not enjoyed your date very much because it's driving you crazy. You ever been there? What is that? The root of that is what you need to look at. The root of that is that you care about the outcome of that date. It was not just a date. It wasn't just, let's go out, spend some hours together, and then I'll take you home and I'll go home. Wasn't that fun? That's not what it was. It was, I care about the outcome, not the event. That's a problem. I don't care about the hours we spent together. I care about what you're thinking after you leave. I care about what you're going to tell other people. I care about feeling rejected. I feel about being accepted. I feel about looking... It's not about the simple event that took place, which was two people spending a few hours together. So we never talk like this, do we? It's like it's so natural to be the other way that nobody even discusses what is truly natural and common, which is things are what they are, and here they are, and enjoy them and experience them when they're happening, and then deal with the next thing. And if you do that, the mind will stop bothering you. It's that simple. But you're not going to be able to do that until you understand what's really going on. So the first is, you have to see the mind's the cause of every problem you have. Then you have to see that that's because the mind has preconceived notions about everything should be, and it really cares about them. It really cares that what it decided should happen, happen. It really cares to decide what it doesn't want to happen, doesn't happen. And it's that simple. The fact that it made it up, it just made up what it wanted, it made up what it didn't want, and then it got all involved in caring about whether it's going to happen or not, and you became an neurotic mess. By letting your mind make up what it wants and what it doesn't want, and then really, really, really caring whether it happens. Okay? And you see that. So now you have to question, why am I doing that? Why am I doing that? Why am I making up what I want or I don't want with my mind instead of experiencing life? I'm not going to change the weather anyways. It's going to rain when it rains. It's going to be sun when it's sun. It's going to be hot when it's hot. It's going to be cold when it's cold. It's going to be storm when it's storm. Why don't I just enjoy them? Why don't I enjoy the rain? It's raining. Wow, time for a shower. And it's hot. Wow, I'm sweating. It's good for you. Purifies the skin. It's cold. That's good for you, right? Why not just enjoy it instead of saying, but I wish it was hot? Which means, in essence, you know what it means when you say, God, I wish it was warmer than it is today? It means I'm not going to enjoy today. That's what you just say. You just put a death sentence on your enjoyment of the day. But it's what the mind does. Why? Why? Why can we not just accept reality, enjoy it, deal with it, interact with it, and keep going about our business of living our life? You start watching, why do we care so much about how we want things to be? And then we care about the outcomes and all that. And what you'll see, when you look deeply, very deeply now, it all comes down to one point, is you'll start seeing, I'm not okay. That's probably the deepest realization and the most honest thing you will ever come to see. You have to look within yourself and see, I'm not okay. That's why I'm doing all this stuff. I'm not okay. That's why I asked you out on a date. And because I'm not okay, and that's why I asked you out on the date, I need something. I want something. I didn't really just want to go out with you. I wanted to be okay. That's what I wanted. And I thought that by going out with you, it would make me okay. But obviously the few hours we spent together didn't make me okay. By definition, I'm still not okay, right? So now I have to find out, do you want to go out again? That'll make me a little bit better, if at least I didn't totally turn you off. Or what are you telling other people? I got to worry about all the rest because I'm really using everybody and everything to try and be okay. Terrible thing to say, isn't it? You better say it. You better come to grips and realize that somewhere deep inside, you're not okay. It's that simple. And that's what's underneath all of it. That's what's underneath all the mind is trying to figure out how to manipulate and control everything to be okay. Right? The mind might as well sit there every day just saying, how do I be okay? 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 Because that's what it's saying. Does my breath smell? Do I look good? Is my shirt tucked in right? In other words, how do I be okay? How do I be okay? How do I be okay? That's all it's saying all the time. It's just speaking in different languages. The language of relationship, the language of money, the language of possessions, the language of fear, the language of everything. Either you're trying to get things to be okay, or you're trying to avoid things that you think will make you worse. That's what the mind talks about. So now it's kind of neat to get down to just a core thing. The reason I care about outcomes is because I'm not okay and I'm trying to use the outcomes to be okay. Fair enough? Who sees that? The reason I care about the outcome of anything, I don't care. I go to get a job, I get the job. And, I get the raise, I get the raise. I don't get the raise, I don't get the raise. People are happy with my work, they're happy with my work. They're not happy with my work, they're not happy with my work. What can I do? I'm doing the best I can. Here, coach. I'll play the best I can. Right? Am I good enough? Am I good enough? It's that simple. Right? Felt good. We all tried. No, that's not what it's about. It's I'm not okay. Maybe I can play sports well enough to impress everybody and then I'll be okay. So then it's not okay if you sit on the bench, is it? It drives you crazy to sit on a bench and you're embarrassed. It's just a terrible thing. You don't want anybody to see you. It's like it has the opposite effect of everything you were looking for. That's why all this disturbance and difficulty is taking place. Because you're not coming to grips with the fact that it's not okay in there. It's not. Net is a spiritual person at some point takes this journey seriously and looks inside and says, I'm not okay. And the world owes me nothing. Why would the world owe me anything? There's no way that this world is here to fix my problem. That is not why either evolution or God created the heavens and earth. You got it straight? If it was total random events that all came together from the beginning of the Big Bang and they just evolved themselves all the way out with survival of the fittest, they didn't do it for you. And if in 6 days, 7 days, whatever it is, God created the heavens and earth and just made the whole thing and the flood happened and Noah did his thing and all that took place, it wasn't for you. It was not so that when you have a problem, she shows up, right? And everything's just that way. It's like, it's not here for you. You're sitting inside, you're not okay, and you're in a world that really has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the forces of nature. It has to do with the laws of cause and effect. It's just like the weather. You're sitting here in it. So you stop thinking it owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything. It is not the solution to your problem. That's where you get. The world is not the solution to your problem. Other people are not the solution to your problem. They're not the cause of your problem. They're outside, you're inside. You're trying to make them the solution to your problem. You're trying to say, I'm not okay, fix it. I'm not okay, get this way so that I feel okay. Everybody, listen up. Woo! Here's the program. This is what will make me okay. Get with it. Do it. You say it to everybody, one way or another. You stop doing that. And you sit there and say, I'm not okay. That's an inner problem. It has to have an inner solution. The outside is not the problem. Therefore, the outside cannot be the solution. The best it can do is be a Band-Aid put on top of it, and then you have to struggle to keep it that way. And you just finally get to the point of waking up and saying, I don't want to do that. I don't want to bother everybody else. I don't want to butt my head against every single thing in this world because I got my preconceived notion of how it should be. I want to fix my problem, and that problem's inside. But I'm telling you, you must go through the stage of realizing that your solution is not outside. And they never said it was, and nobody owes you anything. If you're not okay inside, get to work. You have work to do. It's not about you not being okay and the world being a compensating effect so that you don't feel so bad and then you die and you're still not okay. You're supposed to be okay inside. It's supposed to be wonderful in there. You're supposed to be happy and filled with love for no reason. Where I want you, no matter what anyone does, no matter what happens to you, no matter what takes place, and I mean literally no matter, you're filled with love, filled with peace, and filled with joy, and you couldn't care less. It's just like, oh, look what happened. There. That's what happened. You do the best you can. Every moment you do the best you can with everything you do, and you couldn't care less what happens. There, I said it. That's yoga. That's the essence of all spirituality. You do the best you can. Why would you do the best you can? Why wouldn't you? When people play sports, they do the best they can. For there's no reason to get the stupid golf ball in the hole. But boy, do they try, don't they, all right? And baskets in the baskets and footballs across the lines. And people are serious about stuff, aren't they? They do the best that they can. Why? It's because there's joy in doing the best you can. It brings out the best in you to try the best that you can for everything you're doing. That's the reason. There's no other reason. There is no other reason, period. If you're an artist and you're out there painting in the middle of nowheres and you know that you can't take it with you when you leave, you're painting it on a tree, you're doing tree art in the middle of nowheres, you do the best you can. You do the best you can because it's just beautiful. Do the best you can. You're not doing it to get something. You're doing it to express something. You're doing it to be all that you can be for no other reason. But if you are not okay and you're trying to do this thing to become okay, then you're going to mark where the tree is and try to get back there and take pictures and do everything you can to try and show everybody else what you did. Because it wasn't enough to have the actual experience. You were trying to be okay through that experience. It was not a matter of expressing and experiencing life. It was a matter of, I'm not okay and I'm going to use this piece of life to be okay. When you're doing that, you will never be okay. Because it is the mind that's causing the problem and it's the mind that's trying to solve it, and just someday you'll wake up and give up on that. So when you do that, then you look outside and you say, this world owes me nothing. I think it's a beautiful stage. The world owes me nothing. I have no right to demand anything of anybody. If I'm not okay, it is a problem inside of me, and I'm going to work on it. And I'm not going to bother anybody else with it. Anybody. All right? I'm here to enjoy and experience and express and serve, not take. And as long as I'm not okay, I'm taking, unless I'm working with myself. So now you're in a good position. You are now at the root of mind. Because what you're going to see every single time is that the reason your mind talks is just trying to solve that problem. You know what problem I mean. And eventually when you get clear enough and you can sit with your problems, what clear means is I see I'm not okay, and that's okay. It's okay that I'm not okay. I'm not freaking out. It's okay. I went on a date with her, and I kind of had some stuff going. I see it. And she then went out with somebody else, and I'm freaking out. It's funny. Look at that thing in there. It's nuts. Well, I ain't bothering her, and I ain't bothering him, and I ain't even bothering me. It's just I knew there was a part that wasn't okay, and there it is. Being not okay. That's your starting position. You have to be willing to look the enemy in the eyes, to just look right at it and see it without trying to solve it and without freaking out. Until you can do that, it's going to run you. Because the moment it starts to not be okay, you're going to be out there doing what it wants you to do. And you'll see at that point that when you have something that's not okay inside, your mind starts a mile a minute. And what you learn to do is not listen to it. You don't fight it. You don't try to be okay. You just notice this pattern that there's a part that's not okay and the mind is talking. Oh my goodness. And the more it's not okay, the more the sucker talks. Doesn't it? Okay? And it just jumps. You want to know why you can't make decisions? A lot of people have trouble with decisions, don't they? They're very indecisive. My God, they just can't make a decision. I know why. Because they're not actually trying to go out to eat or trying to go to a movie. They're trying to be okay by going out to eat. They're trying to be okay by going to a certain movie. And what they're doing is trying to feel whether this movie is going to make them okay. And so one moment they think, well, it's kind of light and it's comical. How's that feel? And they say, oh, let's go to a comedy. 2 seconds later, they're not okay. They don't feel okay. Well, I don't know if I feel like that. Maybe we should. And you'll see, you're just using your thoughts to try to solve the problems of your heart. And since the mind cannot solve the problems of the heart, it gets very indecisive. And it keeps changing. Some people change their mind every 3 seconds. Don't get mad at them. Just understand what's happening. And understand when you can't make a decision. You try, all right, I'm going to make a decision. And then you make it, and then it goes, okay, says something else. It's so adorable. And then you try to ignore it, but maybe this is right. Why do you care? You got to sit there and say, why do I care? Why do I care where I go to eat? I eat 3 meals a day, and there's all these days in a year, and then there's all these days in my life. It's just one stupid meal. Why am I doing this? Well, maybe you won't like it, so then I won't like it. No what? I can't not like it. Why? Because there's a chance to be okay, and I missed it. And that's why. That's what's going on. You're trying to use things to be okay. When you cease to do that, your whole relationship with your mind changes. You just one day sit down with your mind. First you start by apologizing. You say to your mind, oh mind. You have to say it 3 or 4 times so it'll shut up for a second. Oh mind, I'm so sorry. It'll listen. The minute you say that, wait till you see it'll be all ears. I'm serious, right? You can talk to your mind. Oh mind, I'm so sorry. I asked you to solve this problem I have. And I know you've been trying so hard my whole life. You don't have to do it anymore. There'll be this silence. Well, what do you mean? You don't have to try to solve the problem I have. I'll just kind of be there with the problem and get some time off, like eternity. We don't need to do this anymore. I'm serious. That's what you say to your mind. Because your mind can't solve that problem. It just creates more problems. And then you have to be able to be comfortable with the fact that you're not comfortable. You have to be comfortable with the fact that there's something inside you that's not okay. Feels insecurity, feels fear, whatever the heck it is. And you learn to sit with it. Now, once you can sit with it, then something very great happens. You look at it, you sit there and say, no, why would I not be okay? You know, I'm sitting on a planet, spinning in the middle of nowheres. It really doesn't make any difference what happens. I'm going to die. Pretty soon. Certainly, I don't care what age you are, it's pretty soon. In relationship to the 5 billion years that the Earth is, all right? It's just a blink of an eye, and you're just one of these billions and trillions that have passed through. Why do you care? The reason you care is because you're not okay, and you think it's going to make you okay. Well, it's not. But there is a way you can be okay. But it is not by trying to use life to fix what's wrong inside of you. So you sit with it, and you say to yourself one day, I don't care what happens. I'm going to do the best I can at everything. Every relationship, every interaction, every work I do, everything I do, and do the best I can, and I don't care what happens. Wait till you see what that does to your thought patterns. You hear me? Because it cuts them off. It undercuts the entire reason that your mind is so active. You have this opportunity to jam and do an audition before somebody with some music. Okay, you want to do it? Sure. Are you scared? No. Why would you be scared? You don't care what happens. You're only scared because you care about the outcome. You're not scared to play your instrument. You play your instrument all the time. You play before all kinds of people. Why would you be scared to play before this person? Because you care if the person likes what you're doing, because you care that you get the gig, because you care that something happens. No, that's no good. You went the wrong way the entire way. You do the best you can because of the joy of doing the best you can. And you literally do not care about the outcome. If the person thinks you're the best musician ever walked the face of the earth and they want you to cut records, then I guess you'll cut records. If the person thinks, God, you're good for the kids, as long as they're over 5, and, keep doing it. Knock yourself out. And say, thank you. It was fun. Fun day. I had a fun day. What'd you do today? I went on an audition. What'd you do today? I started a career. What's the difference? What's the difference? You're going to die soon. You hear me? The question is, are you enjoying the experience of your life? If you enjoyed going to the audition and that was fun, you enjoyed doing the best you could, and you just enjoy whatever happened, then the answer is yes, I enjoy it. If you only enjoy it if the person says it's not enough that he says, all right, we want you to record, right? I want the best contract, and I want to be treated as the best one that you ever had, or I'm disappointed. You could do that, couldn't you? Mine wouldn't have any trouble doing that, would it? It's like, don't you see the thing is ruining your life? This is how you undercut it. It's so busy caring, and you sit there and say, I don't, I'm indifferent. That's your mantra. I'm indifferent. Now notice, I said you do the best you can. It's not like lazy. It's not like I don't care, I'm not going to do anything. No way, that doesn't work. You do the best you can, and you let go of any part of you that cares about the outcome. And what you're going to see is a miracle. It's truly a miracle. you're going to see the part of you, the layers in layers. But the first layer you're going to see is the party that's not okay, that's scared, nervous, and self-conscious, and all that kind of junk, is going to start to fall away. Why? Because it has nothing to lose and nothing to gain. Therefore, the events that it used to get all freaked out about and nervous about and so on, don't bother anymore. Because it didn't set a preconceived notion about what it wanted to happen. When it said, okay, I'm going to go to the audition, well, what do I want? You just say, I'm indifferent to yourself. I'm indifferent. It doesn't matter. I win either way. It's just the fun of doing it. But you say, but it's not true because my heart really, I don't care. I'm serious. If you start owning and giving in to the party that's not okay, then you'll be the party that's not okay. Right? You have to start dealing with a deeper part of yourself. A part that says, I'm sitting on a planet, spinning around in the middle of nowheres, and I'm going to die. And the question is not whether I'm going to sit on the planet. I am going to sit on the planet. And the question is not whether I'm going to die. I am going to die. The question is, am I enjoying the journey? Not am I going to become, a gold artist. Not am I going to become rich. No, am I enjoying the journey? Not am I going to get married. Not am I going to have children. Nope. Am I enjoying the journey? That's the question. You were given this life on this planet and you're going to die, and you're a fool if you are not enjoying every single moment of the experience. How do you enjoy every single moment of the experience? Somebody will look at you like you're crazy. You can't enjoy every moment of the experience. Sometimes things will go your way and sometimes they won't. Wrong. Not if you don't have a way. If you don't have a way, if your way is the way, the Tao, if your way is the way, then your way is, I do the best that I can every single moment for the joy of doing the best that I can, and that is the end of it. That's the beginning and end of the entire thing. I have no preconceived notions about the outcomes, nothing. I have no regrets about the past. I have no fears or hopes about the future. I am totally and completely enjoying and fulfilled with doing the best I can in the moment. Now all of a sudden the mind has nothing to say. And because the mind has nothing to say, and because you haven't built all these notions, you're not scared anymore. Imagine not being scared. Well, that'd be a novelty, wouldn't it? And you also don't need anything. Why would you need anything? Sweep the floor. Yeah, okay. Go run the country. Okay. Doesn't matter. Same. You stand on a planet in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't make any difference. You just do the best you can with whatever's before you, and you have the equal amount of joy as anybody could have with anything. There is no winning, there is no losing, there's no better, there's no worse. There's just the joy of doing the best you can with whatever it is. And then if there are parts of you that can't do that, those are the parts that are not okay. You let them go. You just keep doing the best you can, and you let go any part of you that can't get with the program. You just relax and release. And it will fall off. I guarantee you it will fall off. If you don't feed it, it cannot stay. And your mind will start to get quieter and quieter and quieter. Why wouldn't it? I told you the whole reason it's talking is because it's trying to figure out how to be okay. When you don't use your mind to try to figure out how to be okay, it ain't got nothing to say. It's just amazing. It just has nothing to say. Like, literally, you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, I don't know, I think you might have cancer. I'm sorry to tell you, but you might. I'm not sure yet, and it will take 3 months to figure it out. I want that when you walk away from that doctor, you never think about it again until you go in there in 3 months and he tells you whether you got it or not. You want to know why I want that? Because there is no benefit to drive yourself crazy for 3 months. I want you to enjoy those 3 months as much or more than you've ever enjoyed any other 3 months that could ever. In fact, it's the only rational thing to do. If you don't have cancer and you went to the bother of bothering yourself for 3 months and being a neurotic mess and doing all that stuff when in truth you didn't have it, then was that smart? No. If you do have cancer and 3 months later you find you have cancer, you probably wish that you had used those last 3 months more meaningfully than being all upset and worrying about whether you have cancer. I told you it was very logical, didn't I? It's very, you may not tell you to let go of your mind, but it's very rational. It's very reasonable, right? And you'll catch on eventually that that little example I just gave you about cancer is about everything. It's about everything. The only rational thing to do is to enjoy what you're doing. Why? Because it's what you're doing. Everything else is either worrying about the past, which is dead, or getting involved with thinking about the future and worrying about the future, which hasn't happened yet. There is no joy in that. There is nothing. And so eventually you just catch on. That is your relationship with your mind. You say to your mind, you are no longer employed to solve my problem of not being okay. It is not your job anymore. And the moment you start hearing your mind talking, you just don't listen to it. Don't you remember you were fired? Okay, you were fired a while ago. What are you still doing that? Well, maybe I could tell her that. Look at what it does. Well, if I could talk, how many times do you have conversations with people that aren't even there? Full conversations. Like both sides of the discussion. The whole thing goes on for hours, right? Well, I told you this. What are you doing? I'm talking to my ex from 5 years ago. Why? You're divorced. You don't even see the person anymore. Why are you still carrying on the same argument? But I was right. So what? I don't get it. You do it though, don't you? If you're not careful, you'll watch the mind doing it. It's trying to be okay. It's trying to use mind to make you feel okay. It ain't going to work. And so you just, anytime you see it, you say thank you, but no thank you. That's the way to deal with your mind. You just pranam to it. Thank you, mind. I know you're trying, but it's not going to work. I don't need it. Just cool it. Let go. And you just don't listen. You just don't listen. And if you don't, it'll stop. And then your life is very simple. I told you it was simple. I started that way, didn't I? You do the best you can at whatever you're doing, no matter what it is. Why? Because it is reality. It's what's in front of you. And so you do the best you can. And you have joy in doing the best you can. You say, but what will happen? Life will happen to you. And you'll do the best you can with it. Can you see that? The beauty of that. Just do the best you can with whatever life does. If you're playing golf and you hit in the rough, be the best hit out of the rough player. If you're playing and you hit into the sand trap, get your sand wedge and be the best to get out of the sand trap. Don't sit there and say, it didn't land on the fairway, so I can't enjoy my round of golf. Every single part of it is fun. You just be the best at whatever it is. And you just do the best you can from wherever that is. Eventually you will catch on to the joy of that. It means nothing can ever go wrong. It means you can never have a problem. It means no one can disappoint you. No one can do anything. It's just beautiful all the time. And your mind doesn't have to think or talk. It went on a vacation. It's unemployed. And so you have all this Shakti. Imagine how much energy your mind wastes. That's yours now. That's all the stuff your mind was wasting, spinning its wheels and going crazy. All the Shakti naturally starts to center inside of you when you do this. So the path is not complicated, is it? It's so simple. And it happens to be the depth of all the deep teachings. Summary. Do the best that you can at whatever you're doing. Don't judge what you're doing, and don't judge how you did. Just know, if you knew you did the best that you can, what right do you have to judge anything? You did the best that you can. You just do the best you can. It's so simple. And you let the rest go. All right? Your mind will stop. You will enjoy your life. You will be a blessing to everyone around you. How would you not be? Imagine interacting with somebody who did the best they can and they didn't ask for anything back. Whew. We call them saints. This is how simple it is. Instead of the complete crazy complexity that the mind creates. Good. Work with these things. See what happens. Jagrath.